8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
International superstar, Miss
You are now tuned in to Butter Be Rocker on Transparency Talks Podcast.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Transparency Talks Podcast. I am your girl, Butter Be Rocker. Listen, we have an amazing show for you. I'm so excited to interview this young man. But before we interview him, I do want to let you guys know to make sure that you tune in to Amazon Prime Video for my new film, Finding the Perfect Guy. Make sure you go cop that. Support me, you know what I'm saying? Also, listen to my new single. It is available on all streaming platforms. It is called Time Stands Still. So without further ado, oh my God, listen, guys, I feel like I am talking to luxury here. I'm so excited about this man. He is chart-topping singer, songwriter, recording artist, and entrepreneur. Can you please show some love for Dave Revels?
Hi, everybody. How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm fantastic. I'm very honored to be with you. Wow, I mean, your credentials just don't end. I mean, congratulations on all the fantastic things you're doing. I saw your movie, and I won't be, what do you call those things? Will give away the plot.
Oh, yeah.
No spoiler alert to me. Just go check it out. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. I'm glad that you had a chance to watch it. I appreciate your support. Let me just say, just off top, it is an honor to speak with you. I have been so excited about this interview for a good minute now.
Well, you know, I'm just a humble guy doing my thing.
You a humble guy doing a whole lot of things. So we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it all. So what I like to do, I like to jump right on in. Can you tell everybody a little bit of background about yourself? And then I'm going to get into all my questions.
Well, for me, you know, I've been in the industry for several decades now. Started out quite early with a group you might have heard called the Drifters. I was a member of that group for many years. I'm the lead singer and producer of a legendary a cappella group called the Persuasions. I've recorded and arranged and produced with Barenaked Ladies, a country rock group, the Canadian rock group. Work with some people all the way back from Woodstock, like Knockin from Jefferson Airplane. I'm a songwriter, a singer, own my own company, and I produce shows that tour across the country. Just a little bit of that. I'm a father, I'm a husband, and I'm just a great friend to people that I care about.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm going to just throw it out there. I hope to one day share the stage with you. Putting it out there, you know.
Hey, I think the word duet sounds appropriate. Yes,
it does sound appropriate. I like that too. I do. So, okay, you just talked about a lot of stuff. You've been in the industry for several decades, doing some amazing things. You come from the era of what I call real music, like for real. And everybody, it's classic music that everybody sings. Corporate band, I sing in a lot of corporate bands. I also am a part of a Divas Motown review and tour overseas a lot and everything. You can't get past the songs that you sing. Everybody sings them. So what I want to know is, how does it feel to be a part of that legacy?
It's incredible. I mean, you know, I call it going to school of rock and roll, because I got a chance to work with every iconic name from that era. Chubby Checker, Chuck Berry, the Four Tops, the Temptations. The Four Tops, my favorite group, by the way. Rock groups, and I would sit, Martha Reeves, all these people. I would sit and watch them backstage. I toured with Dick Clark. remember him. Some people do. So I had a chance to watch. I was the person who watched production, I guess you would say. It's not just singing. I used to watch how things were done. And that was my school, learning how to produce a show. So being a part of an era was a chance of a lifetime. And it happened like most things do, just happened chance. I did a favor for another singer. They introduced me to somebody else who was looking for an artist. Hey, the Drifters are looking for a new singer. I went to audition, got a job, things like that. So I learned just by paying attention. And I think that's the best school because from that era, nobody would outright teach you things. You had to pick it up by watching.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I want to go back a little bit farther than that. You are from England.
Yes.
Raised in Jamaica.
Uh-huh.
How did you get to the United States?
By plane. No, it's an interesting history. Of course, my birthplace is England. I've got family on both sides of the pond. England, I got them in Jamaica, I've got them in the U.S. Most children immigrate to the United States or England or Canada. I came to the United States. So that was just, series of circumstances and situations, but they all led me to a glorious path, which is to become a part of the American music scene. So it's just that. My family brought me here as a young man. I was like 12 years old. And I went to a school called Revels-Singer-songwriter High School, a very famous school. A lot of artists and people went to that school. But it's just, how life is. Like you didn't know how or plan for certain circumstances. You met the right people and you were able to take advantage of the situation that they came. So for me, it's just been a whirlwind journey. I mean, I've just always showed up for every opportunity. So that's pretty much my story.
What a fantastic story it is, though. I mean, you was a part of the Drifters, which everybody knows. This is what I noticed when I was doing my research today. I'm like, okay, the Temptations, the Supremes, the Drifters, the Four Tops, the Commodores, all of these Gladys Knights and the Pips, all of these start with the word "the," which made to me, I'm changing my name to the Butterby Rocker because every last one of those artists and groups that I just announced all have classic hits that everybody sang.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, I pay attention. I've watched how they perform. I learned how to be an entertainer from watching them. One thing I discovered, one of the greatest people I've met and know to this day is a gentleman named Anthony Bourdain. They call him Little Anthony from Little Anthony and the Imperials.
Mm-hmm.
Iconic voice. But I learned by watching these great artists, and what I learned is that they didn't make anything up. They were being themselves. They weren't pretending. That they'd be backstage joking and laughing with you and talking with you. The curtain opened, they walk through the side curtain to the stage. It's the same person. No pretense. So I learned a valuable lesson from them is to be yourself, be confident in your own skin, don't fake anything. So that's the greatest lesson I learned. And like the Four Tops, I love that group.
Me too.
And in 1985, I did Motown Returns to the Apollo Theater, the NBC special. Susan DePaz produced it. And that was an incredible night because all the Motown stars were there. And the Drifters that I was a part of them were a part of a thing called Battle of the Bands. Temptation, Four Tops, the Manhattans, the Cadillacs, and the Drifters. So that was a fantastic night.
Oh man, if I could have just been a fly on the wall to be back in those days at the rehearsals. Those times it was artist development and people was solid. You had to come on stage and do a show. And every single artist, including yourself, I mean, y'all did shows. It wasn't just no singing back, just rocking back and forth. No, y'all put on shows, choreographed, just various things. And that's what I grew up on. I grew up when it was a time of artist development, when it was time to make sure that you was polished. You sung in with the Persuasions, which is straight up a cappella, which means that you have to have an incredible ear to be able to maintain those notes throughout every single song. Tell me about that experience.
You're naked.
Yes.
You can't hide behind anything. And you're as close to any other artist as you can ever possibly be because You have to actually embed your voice with the other vocalist. You listen to the texture of the voice, the breathing of their voice, and you have total confidence in the person next to you. You don't second guess what they're going to do. It's like the Blue Angels or the Thunderbirds, those synchronized jet fighters that do those things.
Mm-hmm.
Each one trusts the other. Total trust. And you don't even have a pitch pipe. You just open your mouth and start to sing, and everybody knows where the notes are and where the keys are. And it's just bam, bam, bam. And that's something that it was a fantastic experience. I learned to sing a cappella at age of 14. The Persuasions taught me a cappella when I was 14, by the way. And a decade later, decades later, I became a member of the group and then the lead singer of the group and the arranger and producer of the group.
Now, how did that come to be?
Well, first I did an album with the original, one of the members had passed away years ago before I met him, but the principals, the Bassa Profundo, Deepest of the Deep Bass, Jimmy Hayes, J. Otis Washington, Sweet Joe Russell, and Jerry Lawson, the lead singer and arranger of the group, primary arranger. They invited me to perform at the album called The Persuasion Sings the Beatles. I went to see them at the B.B. King in New York, and I sang on stage with them. They said, "Hey, you want to be a part of the album?" I said, "Sure." So they gave me the material, and I showed up, and that's how it started. Then I left for a few years, and then the lead singer left the group, and I was asked to join and become the lead singer at that point.
Wow. Okay. And during your time with the Drifters, what did you learn from the group?
What did I learn from? What did I learn about?
Yeah.
All of this. I learned showmanship. Again, it reinforced that. I learned the importance of your attire. I learned how to interface with the audience. I was a sponge. I learned everything. I touring, how to handle myself on a tour, because we toured all over the world. We worked back then. I worked like 28 dates a month, 12 months a year.
Wow.
I barely saw my home.
Yeah.
And so I learned how to handle myself on the road. It matures you,
Yeah.
And if you can imagine, stay away from drugs and alcohol, you'd be all right. I was lucky I did.
Yeah, I've done quite a lot of touring as well. And speaking of touring, I want to get on, people see the glitz and glam of touring. What are some of the challenges that you faced when you was on the road?
Well, the first thing is being away from your family. You kind of, it's a world within its own world. So you learn to balance things. You learn to, again, like I said, don't put yourself out there by getting into substance abuse. You learn how to get proper sleep. You learn how to protect your voice.
Right.
Because when you're singing 28 days a month, you got to protect your voice. You learn those things. So these are things that you learn to not do. So I guess the biggest thing I learned was the survival of it, how to make it through 1 year to the next year to the next year.
So we are talking to Dave, and I was trying to let your phone stop.
I don't know what that was, but okay.
Okay. So with touring, you had mentioned about, you got to learn how to protect your throat, and you're exhausted because we are physically, you have rehearsals, you have sound check, you got to perform. Then after you perform, you technically still on stage because you got to kiss babies, sign, autographs, take pictures. There's so many things that's involved, with touring that people don't realize. And then, physically and mentally, you got to be there. While you was on tour, were you going to the gym? Was you able to take some time off for yourself while you was in the midst?
I would go for walks in the morning. That was my getaway. If I went to some place like Las Vegas, I didn't stay on the strip. Every morning I go to Red Rock Canyon and walk into the wilderness early morning. That's my way of saving myself. I find my own quiet time.
Right.
I always spend the first waking hours to myself. Didn't do much talking before noon. And each night, when it comes to your voice, you learn how to save your voice. For instance, in different bands, sometimes every night. Some bands are louder than other bands. So you learn, don't ever blow your pipes out if a band is too loud. Or if the PA isn't that great, don't blow your voice out. Sing at a pace and a level that you know you're singing, and conserve your tones, conserve your voice. And you don't always have to hit every note every night. There's certain songs where you got a really high range you got to hit for a particular note. You don't have to always go there because the audience doesn't necessarily miss it that night.
Right.
So I've learned those tricks. Learn how to phrase a part of a section of a song differently and still get the right emotion to the song without blowing out my pipes. And that's one of the greatest things to learn because this is it. If you're a singer, it's your voice. So you have to treat that with the utmost respect. I don't smoke, and I like a glass of wine or a cocktail every now and then, but I wouldn't overdo it. And so those are the things I learned. I mean, to me, it's basic, but it's easy to get caught up into it because not after night you're invited to parties. So you go to the parties, but you don't have to indulge in everything at every party.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the future of touring in the age of streaming?
I think it's going to be even more important because it's kind of, let's be honest, it's kind of hard. I'm a recording artist and my original material is, and I've released several songs and I've got my pockets of interest. It's very hard to be seen or heard. Most are heard in this day and age because of there are literally thousands of songs being released every day.
Amen.
Okay, it's just what it is. Anybody can release a song.
Right.
But not everybody have the big bucks to promote the song to get it to the public's interest and ear. But there's one thing that will never be denied is that your live presence in front of an audience. You, the person, the personality, that's what people really will buy into. If they like you as a person, they'll want to come see you and they'll follow you. So I think live touring is going to be even more crucial if you really want to develop a personal contact with the audience. But you can't keep up with dropping a song every week. You can't be that creative. I mean, let's be honest. You're going to repeat yourself. You're going to plagiarize yourself.
Right.
But if you get in front of an audience and perform your song, you're not just singing words, you're delivering your personality. So I think it's just like when you meet somebody, you either like them or you don't like them, right?
Right.
And same thing when you go on stage. People either like you or don't. But if they take a liking to you, they'll follow you. They'll come and listen to you, tell you stories about your songs, about your life. They'll buy into you and listen to you singing the song. So it becomes a very personal connection that can never be erased. No amount of technology, streaming, or any of that nature can ever remove your physical presence in front of people.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So go live.
Yeah, absolutely. What is your creative process writing and producing?
What is my what?
Your creative process.
Well, let's start with a word. Sometimes it depends. Sometimes some songs come to me as a melody. And I don't edit it. The melody comes to me, I just let it go. And I don't edit it. I put it all down. If it comes to lyrics, the lyrics come first. I'll just write whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm thinking. I don't edit it. And then later I'll go back to it and say, okay, what was I really trying to say? And that's the point where I begin to whittle away the excess words till I say exactly what it is I'm trying to say. Because it's all about making yourself clear to an audience. It's like if you write a letter to somebody, they won't, days when you used to write letters anyway, or you leave a message on somebody's voicemail. They don't call you back and say to you, what the hell were you talking about? I didn't understand what you meant. You saw what you said in a message, so they got it. Same thing for me in a song. I try to streamline down the words and the melody within a rhythm to the point that you understand what it is I'm trying to express, the thought I'm trying to express. So it's about clarity. It's about distilling it down to the meaning of what I'm trying to say. And I start with the rhythm, a lot once I get it all together, because I have a thing. The process I see in people's lives is this. People feel the music first.
Mm-hmm.
Then they hear the melody second. And then they understand the words third.
Right.
Words is the last thing people understand. So you got to make them feel the music first, then give them a melody they can, hum to,
Right.
and then say something that you really mean that's meaningful. And then eventually they say, oh, that's what you're saying. And so the process is the music made me feel the beat, made me feel something, made me want to move my body. Melody made me want to hum along to it. And then a chorus or the lyric that says exactly what I wanted you to hear. Because that's the last thing you're going to hear is my words. So that's my process.
You know what's crazy? I go melody. I typically hum a melody first, and I'll eventually, put the lyrics to it. And when I am producing the track, because I do know how to produce, I don't like it, but I do know how to get my ideas down. It just takes too long. The beat is the last thing that I do. So very interesting to see that.
Yeah, when you hear music, what's the first thing that hits you?
First thing that hit me is melody. I hear, different.
You're a writer.
Yeah.
See? For the average person, they feel the beat, they feel the music. The music
That's
is what,
true.
they start bopping their head to it and moving their body, and then the melody comes in. Not to say that the beat is more important than the melody and lyric. It's just sometimes to get them to hear all that, you gotta get their attention, their body, And so I always tell the guys when I'm working, he says, make me dance.
Yeah.
When I'm working with a musician, I said, make me dance. Play the drums, make me dance. Let me move my body as I'm singing. So in the studio when I'm recording, I perform in real time. I don't dub my lyrics, my music, my voice in after the music is laid. I actually record my vocals along with the rhythm section.
Nice.
So they feel my vibe, and I sing right along with the music as it's being recorded. So all my songs, that's a real-time vocal. It's not the music going down and I come back later and sing a little. No, I do it at the same time.
Nice. So what are your thoughts on artist development, and what's the most important factors in developing a successful artist, in your opinion?
Well, you look for somebody who has confidence in themselves and are passionate about what they're doing, and an open ear to listen to people, because we don't know it all. So those are things that are important, because if you're not open to learning something, how can you possibly grow?
Right.
So I look for passion. The given is the talent. Can they sing? Right, that's the given. But the things you look for is how passionate are they about it. To them, how passionate are they to the art? Are they superficial, just trying to show off the way they look, or thinking all that? Do they give themselves totally to the art? So I think that's the first thing, because why do I want to waste my time with someone who, will quit at the first sign of something that didn't work for them?
Right. Okay.
It's not an overnight success story, that.
It is not. So that's a good segue to what advice would you give to aspiring singers who want to follow in your footsteps?
What advice? Be true to yourself. I'll give you advice. Start writing so you can find your voice. Because if you don't write as a singer, to me, then you're always at the mercy of someone else having to write a song for you or produce a song for you. But if you begin to take the reins yourself and create your own music, find your own voice as a singer, as a personality, I think that's a major direction to go in. Because if you write a song, you own the song, so you make more money in the end.
Right.
But learn yourself by writing your songs, or if you can't write right away, find yourself a musician with his own studio,
Right.
a pianist with his own studio, so you can keep working your craft and honing it. Collaborate with someone else who has a studio if you don't have one, and collaborate and hone your skill with them and keep getting better that way. You know, it's not a vacuum. You don't avoid. You don't do things by yourself. You need someone with you. You need an ally.
Absolutely. What do you think makes a song timeless?
A common theme that people live by, something that people experience every day. You know, a common experience. You know, a great melody, of course, and a great hook that drives the point home. But it's a song that you can relate to because it speaks to your life too. You know, something about the lyric, you know, you can identify with it. That's what makes a song timeless. You know, versus a song that's just about a fad or something, you know, in a moment. But the thing that people go through everyday life. You know, most of the greatest songs from the Motown era are everyday life stories. You know, and that's why to this day it still resonates. You can still put it on and get into it. I've got sunshine on a cloudy day when it's cold outside. I've got the month of May. Well, I guess you say, what can make me feel this way? My girl. I'm talking about my girl. Timeless. So any song that talks about something that you go through everyday life, that's what makes a song timeless.
Okay. So I had a chance to check out your new latest single, One Man Woman. Very timeless.
Guess what? That reminds me of your movie. That reminds me of your movie.
Yeah.
We're all trying to find that special person in our life, right? So the song celebrates finding that one person and letting them know how much you care about them. You know, and you know, it's like one man, woman, one woman, man. You know, I don't want 5 girls. She don't want 5 guys. I just want you.
Right. How did you come up with the title for your single?
Because that's how my life is. I've always been that kind of guy. You know, I got in trouble when I was younger, dating several women at the same time, and I learned the fallacy of that because I can't be everywhere on Valentine's Day. So I got trapped in those days. I can't be everywhere. So I learned early that you can't give your heart to everybody. And because everybody's looking for somebody special, you only hurt people when you use people like that. So I learned that early. So the song basically, that's always been my way. So this song is basically about a guy who, you know, was busy looking everywhere else until he realized, wait a minute, that's the one person for me. That's the perfect girl. You know?
I love it.
And that's where it came from. And so I decided, let me write about what it means to actually find that right person and make the commitment. Yeah.
Okay. So you are dubbed Golden Throated Singer by the New York Post. I really want to know how you got that name.
I guess, you know, a lot of times people told me that my voice is like a lullaby that soothes them. My voice is soothing. That's what I've been told. Because I don't really scream at you. I mean, I have a full register in my voice, but my tone, I guess, that's why they call me that. I didn't call myself that, obviously. So trying to explain it is kind of hard, except that I just try to match my voice to the words I'm singing, you know, and to a melody that really expresses a thought. But they call me that. Don't ask me. That's it. So how can I tell you? It makes me blush.
I love it. I love it. That's how I got my nickname, Butter. Everybody was saying when I lived in Florida, they said I had a smooth voice, and they started saying smooth like butter. So that's
there you go. So you're in the same package I'm in.
Yeah.
And you go to the supermarket, there's butter and there's golden.
Yep. Yep.
But what can I tell you? This business we're in, um, it's a subjective world. Art is subjective. You're not going to please everybody.
Mm-mm.
You never will. So you can't worry about that. That's why I go back to when you ask what advice would I give an artist up and coming. Please yourself. Be honest with yourself. Say and sing or write or act whatever you really believe in. And if people like it, that's great. If they don't, accept the fact that they don't like it because it's subjective anyway.
Right.
It's all a matter how someone feels about your art. So commit to being an artist first. And don't worry about legend status because you won't make yourself a legend. People are going to create titles for you, just like the Golden Throat. Did I ask for that? No. Did you ask? Did you name yourself Butter? No.
Right. Right.
People found it and put it on you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're just being you. So that's why I guess I said I'm humble when I said at the beginning I shouldn't call myself that because I shouldn't give him that title myself. I'm just saying I've learned not to show off, just be myself.
Mm-hmm.
Sing my songs honestly, write what I want to write, and express myself, and give everything of myself when I get on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Hold nothing back,
Mm-hmm.
because you didn't have to pay money to come see me. So I'm honored that you did that. So why should I be arrogant or trying to show off or nothing like that? Just be me.
Right. Right.
Make sense?
It makes sense to me. I had a wake up call when I injured myself. I had torn meniscus, torn ACL, and I dislocated my shoulder. At that
Okay.
time, I was strictly doing music full time, touring, especially overseas and everything. And when I injured myself, I had to really hone in on what other skills and things that I had. I know I was a creative person. I know I was always a songwriter and singer, but it forced me to have to figure out other things. And for a brief moment, I got a little nervous to show my other talents because I'm like, okay, well, people, they see me as just this and they expect me to do just this. Right. But then I realized I have so many more talents, and abilities. And now my attitude is I'm doing everything to please me. I'm doing what's best for me. I'm going to give all of me and leave it all out there on the stage, whether that's writing my books, my films, anything, singing. I'm doing everything to please me. And it ain't about nobody else. It's about me.
I want to call that your great awakening.
Right. Right.
And but that's what life is. One thing, people look at doors are closed. No, it's just you just haven't looked the other direction yet.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not a standstill person, so your mind is always moving. So it just opened up a whole world for you, and it was meant for that to happen. So
Yeah.
like the dark cloud became a silver lining, right?
It did. It did. It did. So one of the things that you've done is throughout the times you've done all this touring and everything, and you did something very brilliant. You started your own company, and you have the Shadows of the '60s, which
Yes.
I think is brilliant. Makes a whole lot of sense for you to do. I want to talk about that.
Okay. Well, Shadow of the 60s came about. I was working for other people's companies,
Mhm.
shining their, polishing their apples. But yet my name wasn't in the light. It was my work was making them money. My work was creating additions on their homes and things like that.
Right.
And I woke up. I got advice from a group member from a group called the Tokens. That group.
Hmm.
And he said, Dave, why are you working for this other folks? Why don't you do it yourself? You can do it all. Then I woke up to that, and I realized that if I started saying, I said, if your name's not on the marquee, you ain't saying a damn thing.
Okay.
So I learned. I said, I'm gonna put my name on the marquee, my company name on the marquee. It's my company. A former part of mine, his name was David Becker.
Hmm.
And I decided, why, if I'm gonna do anything else from now on, my name has got to be on it, so that people can see and know the source it came from. So I started that, and I'm glad I did because not only did I was able to realize my own ambitions, I also became an employer. I was
Yep.
able to employ people, you contract singers, to do shows for you. So I was able to give people income,
Yep.
which is a great reward in itself because I'm adding to someone's life, you know, and so that's has been one of the greatest joys of it, and mainly being able to express my creative thoughts, how to produce shows, which I learned from watching Dick Clark, Susan Apostle, the Motown, which I say Apollo, all these great producers, just watching them. A guy named Larry Klein from the American Music Award a few years ago cursed me out one day and woke me up, and I said, I'm not sure if I can do that. He says, what a blanket you tell me. Don't you have a blanket tell me you can't do nothing? And this is a man who produced TV shows. You don't tell me you can't do it. And so I've learned from people who saw things in me that I didn't see in myself at first. So yeah, so Shadow 6 has been a great creation because having worked with all these different artists from the era, I'm a fan first. So I'm not doing an impersonation show. I don't want that. I want people who have the vocal prowess of the original, but also I hired people who have a passion for the music, who love Diana Ross, who love the Four Tops, and love the Temptations. So when they're on stage, they're giving you see and feel their passion, just like how the original delivered it. So what I try to create is that moment for the fan where they bring them back to the moment when they first saw the Temptation, the Four Tops, the Supremes, all these groups on stage for the first time, how excited they were, and how the artists felt when they were going out for the first time performing songs that they released.
Right.
So I want to create that energy. So I hired artists who have that energy about them. So when they're on stage, the audience is seeing the excitement in their faces. They're all smiling. They're singing with passion. They're dancing with grace. All the classic choreography. So it's about taking people back to a time. So that's Shadow of the 60s.
I love it. I produce a lot of shows as well, and I've taken so many people overseas and here in the States, and I do a lot of shows, so I absolutely understand. But one of my biggest ones is the Divas of Motown, so we be giving you all that. Yeah, Diana Ross.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's the costumes, it's the choreography,
Mhm.
it's the mannerism, it's the
Yep.
grace, it's the way they speak, everything, the diction, all that
Everything.
stuff, and all that.
Mhm.
You create that moment. There's choreography, people exiting entrances from different directions,
Yep.
grand finales, choreographed numbers with 20 people on the stage, all that stuff. So I bring the excitement to the people. So then I call it Broadway on steroids.
It is. It really is.
You know?
We would do 4 quick changes in 45 minutes. Our
Oh
set
yeah.
was 45 minutes. We're doing 4 quick. I'm like, what? You got to be ready to get your things on and off and
Oh
get
yeah.
on the stage.
Oh yeah. And it's bam, 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 and I'm the MC. I segue everybody on the stage and all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But like I said, an audience want to be entertained. They just don't
Yep.
want you to sing at them.
Yeah.
So the whole lesson is entertain, be an entertainer.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know. So
And we are entertainers for sure.
no.
So, what's next for you?
Continuing my original work, recording and touring my original music. I'm doing my show September 12th at the Cutting Room in New York City, 44 East 32nd Street. It will be a night of my original music. It's my birthday, September 12th.
Nice.
So, I'm really excited about that. I got a lot of people coming down, and I want as many people can show up to come because it's a celebration of life. I celebrate life. Don't know what that is, of course. Okay. So I try to celebrate life. So that night is going to be a night of celebration, September 12th. Cutting Room.
Okay. Are you in New York?
I'm a New Yorker, yeah. I live on Long Island.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be coming up there soon. So
when are you coming?
Well, it's going to be February.
Okay. Well, let me know, and I'll take you out to one of my favorite eating places.
I will definitely do that. I'm going to be doing a premiere of my film up there. And
fantastic. I'd like make sure you invite me.
Absolutely. And I'm going to set up, of course, I never come to New York without performing someplace. So I'm going to set up, a couple of things. So
Well,
yeah,
let me know, and I'll put it on my page, and I'll tell people to come check you out, and I'll come check you out.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I would like to thank you so much for being a part of Transparency Talks podcast. I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation.
I've enjoyed you too, and like I said, I love your work. I like your original music. You know, keep going. You know, keep being yourself. You know,
Thank
you struck out on your own, made your own path, and when I grow up, I will be just like you.
you. Thank you so much. That's a huge compliment coming from you. So, with that, everybody, we are going to say goodbye. We will talk to you guys later. Peace.
Peace.
Now, you stay on, but let me tell them bye. Peace,
Okay.
everybody.
All right.